Welcome back, students. We have discussed a major portion of the lesson sources of energy, in which we discussed in full length about fossil fuels and nuclear energy. We have studied how conventionally we have been using fossil fuels for a while now, but as we all know, there are several problems related to the use of fossil fuels. Actually, with more and more technological advancement and progress, our demand for energy is increasing day by day. Our lifestyles are also changing, and we prefer to use machines to do more and more tasks for our convenience and comfort. Moreover, our living standards are improving with increasing industrialization. All these factors contribute towards greater requirement of energy. The conventional sources of energy, like fossil fuels, are available in limited quantity and are non renewable in nature. Therefore, we cannot go on exploiting these resources blindly. To mitigate the problem, on one hand, we should develop advanced technology to use the conventional sources of energy more efficiently, and on the other hand, we should also look to new, non conventional, or alternate sources of energy with an aim to avoid the impending energy crisis due to rapidly depleting known reserves of fossil fuels. Scientists all over the world have accelerated the search for newer and non conventional sources of energy which should be renewable in nature. Scientists are working to develop and perfect technologies designed to capture and store energy generated from these new sources of energy. Some of these non conventional sources of energy are solar energy, energy from the sea, geothermal energy, wind energy, hydroelectric power, biomass. Today, we shall be discussing about two of these. We will be discussing about hydropower and wind energy. Let's begin the discussion with hydro energy. Hydro energy is the kinetic energy of flowing water in a stream or the potential energy of water stored at a height. A hydropower plant converts the potential energy of stored water into electrical energy. When water falls from a sufficient height, its potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. This kinetic energy of flowing water is used to move the turbine of hydropower generator so as to produce electricity. Since there are very few waterfalls which may be used as a source of potential energy needed to produce hydel energy, large sized dams are needed to produce hydroelectric energy. In fact, in the last century, a large number of dams were built all over the world, and more dams are being constructed even now. Let's understand the working of hydropower plant in a bit more detail. As you can see in the picture, a high-rise dam is constructed on a river at a suitable location to obstruct the flow of water and thereby collect water in a very large sized reservoir. The water level rises in reservoir and the stored water possesses potential energy. Sluice gates, or as you can see, the control gates, are constructed at the base of a dam. When these gates are opened, water from the high level in the dam is carried through a water tunnel, that could be a channel or a pipe, to the turbine of the electric generator installed at the bottom of the dam. Kinetic energy of water coming through the tunnel moves the turbine, and as a result, electrical energy is generated by the powerhouse generator. The electrical energy so generated is transmitted through power lines. Here in the map you can see some important locations for major hydropower plants. I will zoom in the map a little bit so that you can see where we are having the major hydropower plants. We are having such power plants at Sindh, Lower Jhelum, Pong, Daher, Giribata, Bhakra Nangal, Yamuna, Rana Pratap Sagar, Jawahar Sagar, Gandaki, Obra, Bihan, Gandhi Sagar, Hirakud, so many, Nagarjun Sagar, Tungabhadra, Kalindi, Sharvati, Jog, Kodayar. So throughout the country in different locations we are having such places where hydropower plants have been set up. Now, a hydropower plant is also sometimes referred to as a multi-purpose project. Why? Because once a dam is erected, it not only helps in generation of electricity, but it also serves as a site for several other fruitful purposes. That's why it is called multi-purpose, a place where more than one purpose is fulfilled. So, multi-purpose project is a large-scale hydro project, often including dams for water retention, canals for irrigation, water processing, and pipelines to supply water to cities and power generation. These often include transportation improvements and industrial growth. They are also developed to reduce the dangers of flooding. So, some of the major multi-purpose projects in India are Bhakra Nangal project, Hirakud Dam project, Meurakshi project, Damodar Valley project, Sardar Sarovar project, Western Yamuna Canal, Eastern Yamuna Canal, and Periyar Vadai project. Now, here you can see a comparative study of these multi-purpose projects. Why did I use the word comparative? Because I want to focus both on the advantages and disadvantages of having a dam. Let's begin with the advantage first. You can see that how by construction of a dam several purposes are being fulfilled. We already discussed about it. So utilization of power generated from these dams will be certainly used by the industries. You will have a water supply, livelihood, fishing, it is hydropower. Using this water that has been retained can be used for irrigation. It will be helpful for flood control as well as inland navigation. So certainly it is a multi-purpose project. But if it is serving several purposes, then there are certain disadvantages too. What are they? Once a dam is erected, obviously the place, a large area is required. So that is going to lead to destruction of historical and archaeological sites. That may cause loss of livelihood, displacement of the local tribes, loss of natural diversity, greenhouse gas emission, and so on. So many a times we find that when such a project is being thought of, a large section of people start opposing it. So that's why it becomes very important for us to understand what are the advantages as well as disadvantages. Let's begin with the advantages. Some important advantages of hydroelectricity are, as no fuel is used in a hydropower plant, there is no fuel cost involved for the production of electricity. Hydroelectricity or hydro energy, as you may call it, is a renewable source of energy. Since the water in the reservoir would be refilled each time it rains, hence we need not worry about hydroelectricity sources getting used up after some time. No ash is produced in operation of hydropower plant, so practically there is no air or water pollution. Now the fuel, as you may call it, the energy is actually obtained from water. So in that way it is cheap because you are getting water for free. But this particular point I mentioned in the last part because this is also a point for disadvantage, because for utilization of energy of water we need to construct a dam which requires a lot of investment. So the disadvantages of hydropower: it requires flowing water, can interfere with view, disrupts the ecosystem, people move to make way, reservoirs can fill with dirt and become useless. So the production of hydroelectricity by constructing high-rise dams on rivers has certain problems. So the dams on rivers can be constructed only in a limited number of places, generally in hilly terrain. Thus, a hydropower plant cannot be established at any place of our choice. Large areas of agricultural land and human habitation, that is villages, get submerged in water reservoir formed due to construction of high-rise dam. It creates the problem of satisfactory rehabilitation of displaced people. Large ecosystem that includes flora and fauna are destroyed when submerged under the water in dams. The submerged vegetation rots under anaerobic conditions, that is in the absence of oxygen, and gives rise to large amount of methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. So although hydroenergy is cheap and a renewable source of energy, yet before deciding to construct a dam on a river, it is necessary to plan satisfactory rehabilitation scheme for displaced persons, as well as possible long-term effects on the ecosystem of the region. The sun is the ultimate source of hydroenergy. This is because the water cycle in nature is mainly governed by solar energy, and it is the water collected in reservoirs due to rains which is used to produce hydroelectricity. Coming to the next form of energy, that is wind energy. Wind energy has also been a traditional source of energy. Traditionally, wind energy was harnessed by windmills to do mechanical work. For example, in a water lifting pump, the rotatory motion of windmill is utilized to lift water from a well. Similarly, a windmill was also used to grind grains, could be wheat or corn, into flour. Wind energy is a renewable form of energy source. Fast moving air is called wind. Wind possesses kinetic energy, which depends on the speed of wind. Higher the wind speed, greater the energy possessed by per unit mass of wind. This kinetic energy of wind is made use of to do work. Solar energy is responsible for blowing of wind. Air movement is generated due to unequal heating of the landmass and water bodies by solar radiation, and it causes wind to blow. So let us study about how wind power is obtained. A more efficient and modern technique for harnessing wind energy is to generate electricity from wind energy. So it essentially consists of a structure similar to a large sized electric fan. The structure is erected at some height on a rigid support. In the picture you can see a windmill as well as a wind energy farm, because we require the energy that is collected from several windmills and they are coupled so as to obtain a substantial amount of energy that can be further converted into electricity. As you can see in your screen, the important parts of a windmill has been shown, and as I was telling you that the structure is erected at some height on a rigid support. So it is pretty much clear from the diagram itself how a windmill actually looks like and how this entire system is capable in generating electricity, how wind energy can be utilized for generation of electricity on a large scale. The rotatory motion of the blades of the windmill is used to turn the turbine of the electric generator. The electricity output of a single windmill is quite small and cannot be used for commercial purposes. To overcome this problem, a number of windmills are erected over a large area. The energy output of all the windmills is coupled together to get electricity on a commercial scale. Such an arrangement of windmills is called a wind energy farm. Again, you can see the wind power density map of India. There are several locations where this form of energy can be harnessed, but still a very limited utilization of this energy is taking place, as you have already seen in the pie graph. I would like to tell you that in the present time in Denmark, more than 25% of the electricity demand is generated through a network of windmills. In terms of total electricity output, Germany is on top and India is ranked 5th in harnessing wind energy through production of electricity. It is estimated that 45,000 megawatt of electric power can be generated in India by exploiting its wind energy potential. Wind energy can play an important role in coastal region of India. At present, the wind energy farm established in Kanyakumari, that's in Tamil Nadu, produces 380 megawatt power and is the biggest wind energy farm in India. Let's talk about the advantages of wind energy. Wind energy is freely available in nature, thus no recurring expenditure is needed for the production of electricity by harnessing wind energy. Wind energy is environment friendly and causes no pollution of any sort. Wind energy is a renewable source of energy and is thus inexhaustible in nature. Wind energy is an efficient source of energy, and technology for harnessing is simple. If you have advantages, there are a couple of limitations too. Some of the important limitations are that wind energy farms can be established only at those places where wind blows for the greater part of a year with a wind speed of at least 15 km per hour. Establishment of wind energy farms require large area of land. About 2 hectares of land are needed to establish a wind energy farm of 1 megawatt generation capacity. The initial cost of establishment of a wind energy farm is quite high. Since the tower and blades of a windmill are exposed to the sun, rain, storm, cyclone, they need a high level of maintenance. And a wind energy farm needs some backup facilities like storage batteries to take care of the energy needs during the period when there is no wind. So we can see from today's discussion that even though we are talking about renewable sources of energy, yet the technology that is being employed behind the utilization of these renewable sources of energy is a bit costly, and there are some other disadvantages too. That's why the utilization of these resources become limited to certain extent. Even though people are working hard to ensure that we prefer to use such sources of energy that do not lead to pollution and then can be utilized for a longer period of time because they are inexhaustible in nature. So, we will be discussing some more sources of energy in our next session. Thank you.